dear students. How are you? I hope you all are good. I welcome you today in my third video lecture on the topic Matter in Our Surroundings, Class 9, Chapter 1. So students, in previous video lecture, I discussed with you about the characteristics of particles of matter. And there I discussed with you about characteristics like that particles are very small, they have spaces between them, they are continuously moving and they are held together by a force of attraction. Right children? Now in this video lecture today we will discuss about the states of matter. So children, if you remember, in the very first lecture of mine, I told you that according to modern science, matter can be classified into 3 states based upon its physical properties. And these 3 states are children, solid, liquid and gas. And this classification we have done on the basis of the physical properties of the matter. So first is solid state. Now solid state means those things which are solid at room temperature. So for example, I have this wooden block in my hand. We call it as a solid. Similarly, I have this bar which is made up of iron. Circular shape it is, and iron is a metal, so it is solid at room temperature. Not only this, the piece of chalk which I am having in my hand, that piece of chalk, it is also existing in solid state. Right children? So the first state is solid state. Now another one is, that is liquid state. Now examples for liquid state, we have many more from our daily life. So I want to begin with the best one, the milk, which are supposed to drink in ample quantity to stay healthy. So that milk is an example of liquid substance. Similarly, here I have prepared one solution that is dark purple in color. So that is also a liquid. And water, that is a lifeline for we people, even for every organism. So that water is also an example of a liquid substance. Honey, another example for liquid substance. Now, the third state of matter is gas. Now children, the substances which exist in gaseous state, most of them are not visible to us. We can't see them, but we can feel their presence. And the best example for gaseous substance is air. Yes, because in lower classes we have learned that air is present all around us and it is a mixture of various gases. So for example, I have inflated this balloon with air. So this balloon is consisting of air. Is it right children? So matter exists in 3 physical forms, solid, liquid and gas. Now children, question comes that whatever matter we take, it is ultimately made up of particles, and these particles are having some important characteristic features. So question comes that why it is like that some things are solid at room temperature, some things are liquid at room temperature and some things are gases at room temperature. So answer to this question lies in the fact that in all these 3 states of matter, there exists a variation in the properties. Variation in the properties like I discussed with you that particles of matter, they are held together with a force of attraction. Now that force of attraction, it varies, means it is very stronger in one state of matter, then it is weaker in another state of matter, and it is almost negligible in some other forms. Okay, so variation in these characteristics of particles of matter, they themselves give rise to states of matter. Let's see how. So first we will take the example of solid state. So drawn a representative diagram for the arrangement of particles in solid state. Now children, in solid state, as you can see from blackboard, that particles are very closely packed with each other. They are so close packed to each other that there are hardly any spaces left between the particles. They are very closely packed. They are almost physically sticking together. And why it is so? Because in solids, force of attraction is the strongest one. It is up to its maximum level. Force of attraction is strongest in case of solids, which keeps the particles of solids held together and sticking to each other. So, in solid, between the molecules or its particles, there are hardly any spaces and forces of attraction are very, very strong. Now, forces of attraction are very strong and spaces between the particles in a solid are almost negligible. So, with reference to the movement of particles in solid, we say that in the name of movement, particles of a solid can only vibrate about their fixed positions, because in a solid, the position of each individual particle is fixed. They cannot move, they cannot leave, they are that fixed position. And just in the name of movement, they simply keep on vibrating about their fixed positions. Right, children? So, in solid state, forces of attraction are maximum, spaces between the particles are negligible, and in the name of movement, particles can only vibrate about their fixed positions. Okay? Now, let's see what happens in case of a liquid. As you can refer from the diagram I have drawn on the blackboard, the particles in case of liquid are packed closer to each other but not so close as what we have seen in solid state. Means particles are having sufficient spaces between them. They have got sufficient spaces between them. They are not so closely packed. And it is because the forces of attraction between the particles of a liquid, that force of attraction is weaker as compared to the force of attraction which we see in case of a solid. And because of that, particles, they have sufficient gap between them. Now, in a liquid, particles have sufficient gap between them. So, particles inside a liquid can change their position from one place to another. I am not saying they can move freely. They can change their position from one place to another, but that is again within the body of the liquid only. And since children, particles in a liquid can change their positions, so we say that particles in a liquid can slide over each other. They can slide because of weaker forces of attraction. Molecules, they can change their positions, but within the liquid only. Is it clear? Now let's see the case of gases. Now in case of gases, as you can see from the diagram, the intermolecular spaces between the particles is maximum. In case of gases, particles are very, very far away from each other. And why it is so, children? Because in case of gas, the particles are held together by a weakest force of attraction. So the strength of force of attraction in a gas is very, very weak. So particles are very far away from each other. And if we talk about the movement of particles, in case of gas, it is up to the maximum level. Particles in a gas are free to move with high speeds in all possible directions because force of attraction is minimum. Right, children? So here in all these three states, there exists a variation in force of attraction, intermolecular spaces, and tendency of movement of particles. And because of that variation only, some things are solid at room temperature, some are liquid, and some are gases. Right, children? Okay, students. Now we will discuss about some of the important properties of matter. And once we finish the discussion of these important properties of matter, then we will compare the three states of matter on the basis of these important properties. And that itself makes an important question for your examination. That is comparison between the three states of matter. So let's start with. So the first property which I am going to take is rigidity. Now the term rigidity we have taken from the basic English word rigid. And the word rigid stands for unbending or inflexible. Say for example, I am having this piece of wooden block in my hand. So if I put force, I put pressure so that I can bend it a little. No, I am not able to bend it. So what I will say, that this wooden block is rigid by nature. So in case of rigidity, actually it is a property of matter by virtue of which some matter forms, they don't allow external forces to cause a change in their shape and size. So for example, I just shown you, I am putting force with my hand, but I am not able to bend it. So it is rigid by nature. And since it is rigid only, that's why it has got distinct boundaries, a definite shape and size. Is it clear, children? So, and generally we say that solids are rigid by nature. Another property is fluidity. So fluidity, this term we framed from the another English word that is means fluid. Now the fluid word stands for any substance which has a tendency of flowing from one place to another at its own. And secondly, for fluids, we always require a vessel to store them. Say for example, in this beaker I am having this dark purple colored solution. It is a fluid. This solution is a fluid because I am requiring this beaker to store it, and if I transfer this, so simply by tilting I can transfer it because this is moving. It is flowing like that. And if I spill it on the floor, you might have seen yourself that when water spills on the floor, it automatically starts moving from one place to another. So water is an example of a fluid. In fact, children, liquids and gases collectively are known as fluids because they can move from one place to another at their own. So they are fluids, and this property we call it as fluidity. Okay. Now the third property is diffusion. Now diffusion, as I already discussed with you in previous of my video lecture, that it is the intermixing of particles of different kind of matter with each other at the own capacity of the particles, because particles of matter are continuously moving, so they collide with each other and they keep on moving, they keep on mixing with each other. So that is referred as a diffusion. Okay. With respect to diffusion, children, always remember that rate of diffusion will increase along with the increase in temperature. Means if temperature is increased, diffusion will take place at a faster rate, and if temperature is decreased, then diffusion will take place at a slower rate. So temperature determines the rate of diffusion. Now another one is compressibility. Now compressibility by virtue of which we can reduce the volume of a matter form by applying pressure on it. And if we are able to reduce the volume of a matter form by applying pressure, then we say that that particular thing or matter form is compressible by nature. And this we can just compare with the help of one small activity. So here I have taken 3 balloons. So in first this orange color balloon, I have filled air, means I have simply inflated it. In this second balloon, that is of green color, I have filled this balloon with liquid, that is water. And this third balloon, which is the smallest of all the 3, I have filled with soil. Okay. Now we will try to compress each of them. So in this balloon, I have taken air, and that is an example of gas, right? Here I have taken water, that is an example of liquid. And here I have taken soil, so that is an example of solid. So one by one, now we will try to put pressure. So for example here, I am able to press it easily. It is compressible, or I should say it is highly compressible. So easily I am able to compress it. In fact, you might have experienced playing with the balloons yourself. You keep on compressing them. So what basically I am compressing? I am compressing the air which is present inside the balloon. So can I conclude that gases are compressible? Yes, gases are highly compressible. An example is in front of you. Let's take another one, that is this balloon. It is filled with water. Now when I am putting pressure, yes, a little bit, but it is also can be compressed. Yes. Now come to the third one. This balloon I filled with soil, and I am putting much pressure, but I am not able to compress it. It cannot be compressed. Yes. And soil is an example of a solid. So from this activity, we can infer that on the basis of compressibility, we can conclude that gases are highly compressible, then liquids can be compressed but not much, and solids, their compressibility is negligible. Right, children? Now, the last property which I am going to discuss with you is density. Okay? Now density, you might have heard the term before also, and especially in mathematics you must have learnt about it. So density stands for the mass per unit volume of a substance. Means in a given volume, how many particles of substance are present, that determines the density of a matter. And always remember, children, density, it refers to the lightness or heaviness of the material. Means if a material is heavy, then we will say that that material's density is high. And if a material is lighter, then we will say that density of that material is less. Right, children? So these are some of the important properties of matter. Now we will compare 3 states of matter based upon these properties. Okay, children. Now we will compare the 3 states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas, on the basis of these important properties of matter which we discussed right now. Now before we move on for comparison, now in the beginning of the lecture, children, I discussed with you the variation of characteristics of particles of matter in these 3 states. So children, always remember that whatever the differences these 3 states are going to show with respect to the properties of matter, all these differences can be explained on the basis of variation of those characteristics between the particles. Let's see one by one. So first, let's see the important properties of solids. So first, we say that solids, they have definite shape and volume. So in the beginning, I discussed with you the term rigidity. We say that solids are rigid, they don't bend, they are not flexible, and because of that, they maintain their distinct boundaries, fixed shape and fixed size. And why it is so? Because children, in solid, molecules are closely packed because of stronger forces of attraction, right? Next is, solids cannot flow. We don't call a solid as a fluid. Why? Because in case of solid, the position of each particle is fixed. They cannot leave their positions. They can simply vibrate about their fixed positions. So since they cannot leave their positions, they cannot flow from one place to another. Next is high density. Solids, they have high density because in case of solid, molecules are closely packed. So in a given volume, there are more number of molecules present together, and that leads to increase in density. So generally, solids, they have a higher density. Okay. Next one is rate of diffusion. Then in case of solids, we say that solids, they diffuse very, very fast. In fact, some people are of also the thought that in solids, there is no diffusion. But children, in solid, diffusion also takes place, but it is extremely slow. And reason is that in case of solids, molecular spaces are negligible, forces of attraction are maximum, particles cannot move from one place to another, and for diffusion to take place, particles need to move, they need to collide with each other, they need to intermix with each other, and because of all these properties, diffusion in case of solid is negligible. The next one is that is a solid cannot fill a container completely. Here that is a solid cannot fill a container completely means a given amount of a solid will occupy a given specified volume only, not more than that. Why? Because in solid, particles cannot leave their positions. They cannot leave their positions, so they cannot spread out in the container to occupy the complete space. Right, children? So we say that a solid cannot fill its container completely. Now let's see some important properties of liquids. So first one is, we say that liquids, they have indefinite shape, means their shape is not fixed because they always take the shape of the container. So for example, I have this potassium permanganate solution in this beaker. So here if I ask you the shape of this solution, then you will say that it is the shape of that of the beaker. Now let me transfer this solution into this conical flask like this. So now I have transferred this solution in this conical flask. So here you can say, now you can clearly observe that now this solution has taken the shape of this conical flask. Similarly, now if I transfer this solution into this test tube, yes, now it has taken the shape of this test tube. That's why we say that liquids, they don't have fixed shape, but they do have a fixed volume. Means, say for example, if in the beaker I have taken 50 ml of solution and then transferred it to this conical flask. So in this flask also the volume will remain 50 ml only, but only the shape will change. So now we get a question in exam sometimes, children, that explain why liquids don't have a fixed shape. It is because in liquids molecules, particles, they can slide over each other. And why they can slide? Because spaces between them are very sufficient and forces of attraction are weaker as compared to solids. So molecules can slide over each other, so they can easily take the shape of the container in which they are stored, but their volume will always remain fixed. Next one is that liquids can flow. Again, same reason exists. Sufficient interparticle spaces and weaker forces of attraction, they allow the particles to change their position from one place to another within the liquid, and as a result they can flow. Another is that liquids can be compressed but not much. So as in the previous activity we compared the compressibility. One more time, same balloon I am holding, it is carrying water. So if I am putting pressure, yes, I am able to compress it but not much. So liquids can be compressed but they are less compressible in comparison to gases. Okay. The next one is density. In case of liquid, they are less dense as compared to solids. Means density of liquids is less than solids, but it is higher than gases. Next one is, children, that is diffusion. So in case of liquids, the rate of diffusion, it is greater than that of solids, but it is less than that of gases. Means it is in the middle between solid and gases. Clear? And the next one is, students, that like solids, liquids also don't fill their container completely. Say for example, in this conical flask, I am holding this solution. So this much solution, 50 ml solution is occupying this much space only. It cannot spread further and fill the whole container. If I want to fill this whole container, then I have to bring more solution and I have to fill it in the conical flask like that. But if I want that the same given quantity of solution will spread and occupy the whole conical flask, then it won't happen. Why? Because in case of liquids, although molecules can move from one place to another, but they cannot move freely because they are held together by a pretty stronger force of attraction. Clear? Now let's come to gases. Now in case of gases, the shape and volume both are not fixed. So like liquids, gases also take the shape of the container. Say for example, here I have filled air in this balloon. So the air has taken the shape of inflated balloon. Is it clear? And the volume of gases is also not fixed. So question comes, why? Why we don't have a fixed volume of gases? So answer is, in case of gases, the spaces between particles is not fixed. It is not fixed at all because the forces of attraction are negligible and particles can move freely if there are no forces or pressure acting, and volume can be reduced also if we put pressure upon it. So particles spaces are not fixed. So as a result, their volume is also not fixed. Next one is, gases can flow very easily. In fact, gases can flow much easily as compared to liquids. And again, same reason comes that interparticle spaces are maximum, forces of attraction are minimum. So these two factors together makes their fluidity maximum. Next one is, gases are highly compressible. Yes, gases are highly compressible because in gases, the spaces between the particles is very large. And if we put pressure, then particles can be brought closer by reducing the interparticle spaces, and because of that they are compressible. And here on, if we talk about in case of solids, we say that solids cannot be compressed. Say for example, if I want to put pressure here on solids like this, I am not able to compress it. Why? Because in solids particles are already closely packed. We hardly have a space between them. Since we don't have spaces between them, then what we will reduce then after putting pressure? But in case of gases, between particles are present large spaces, and which can be reduced by putting pressure like this. I am putting pressure and it can be reduced. And children, because of this high compressibility of gas only, large volumes of gases is compressed and filled inside container and is transported easily from one place to another. You might have heard the examples: CNG, compressed natural gas; LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. All these are examples of compressed gases. Okay, so children, this makes one important question itself for exam, that explain why gases are highly compressible, right? Now next one is that in case of gases, the density is least. As compared to solid and liquid, gases have got least density. Why? Because in case of gases, between the particles are present large spaces, or you can say in another way, particles are very far away from each other. So, in a given volume, we hardly have countable number of particles of gases. That's why their density decreases. And the last one is, the second one, diffuse very fast. In fact, the rate of diffusion is maximum in case of gases. Why it is maximum? Again, the same two properties we have to explain, that in case of gases, the forces between particles, it is minimum, and spaces between them is very, very large. So molecules are free to move with high speed in all possible directions, and that increases the rate of diffusion. And the last one is, children, that gases, they always fill their container completely, because their molecules can spread out in all available spaces to them because of weakest force. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Do revise it properly. Take care of yourself. Thank you.